God damn. Oh, hey there, TimaeuSS here, caught me a very awkward time. Welcome to another Honkai Star Rail video. So today we're going to talk about Kafka and her CBT performance. If you didn't catch my previous video about Blade, I did do a CBT overview of Blade because HoYoverse has started drip marketing on their Honkai Star Rail Twitter page. They have revealed the upcoming 5 stars. Well, we already know from the CN official website that version 1.1 will have Silver Wolf and Rocha, so this is most likely going to be version 1.2, in which we get Kafka as well as Blade. Now, this is from CBT 2, I believe, or CBT 1, one of the earlier ones, so make sure that you do know in this video all of the skills are subject to change. Okay, everything is still subject to change. I'm pretty sure they will be changing Kafka, but let's take a look at how she was originally. And even if the skills multipliers and the talents do change, the overall play style of Kafka should not change. So what type of unit is she, and how is she going to fit in the current meta, and is she going to bring new things to the game? Of course, as you know, I'm a huge Kafka simp. I have an account that is just sitting at a tutorial so I can admire her, and when she comes out, we are going to Eidolon 6 as well as superimposition her Cone to 5 as we did with Sailing. Okay, so let's take a look at her skills overall. Now, this is the talent. So the talent, you have to understand Kafka is very focused on the DoT damage, okay? Her whole kit revolves around damage over time. Currently, the DoT is not very meta at the moment. We have Sample, who, despite a lot of people liking him, he is not that high on the tier list, as well as Servo. So with the release of Kafka, you should see a new meta rising, and hopefully she is enough to push the DoT team to its peak, but we can see how she is in CBT too. So this is the talent. Now, every time an ally attacks an enemy who has the lightning DoT, then Kafka will do a follow-up attack. Okay, so this follow-up attack triggers once every single turn, but it doesn't mean that every time your ally attack, Kafka will automatically follow up, because that would be absolutely broken. You have 3 allies, they all attack, and that's 3 auto attacks from Kafka. No, that's not the case, and this is just scaling with attack percentage and not applying any dots through that. Okay, so that is the talent. And we'll take a look at the normal attack. Again, it's based on the percentage, similar to every single other characters. Now, this is the ultimate. AoE to the enemy based on Kafka's attack percentage, and an 100% base chance to apply the lightning DoT. And also, now, Kafka, the reason why she makes a DoT teams viable and is going to usher in a new meta is because she can detonate. Okay, think of it as like a ticking bomb. Every turn, there is the bomb damage. However, okay, Kafka's so strong that she can detonate and apply a percentage of the bomb's damage without exploding the bomb completely. So you still get the DoT damage and you still get it ticking every single turn, but she will just be able to trigger that damage and apply a certain percentage. So you can see in this ultimate, she applies 86% of the DoT damage. And we've talked about previously, there's also, she applies the lightning DoT, which lasts for 3 turns. Okay, which lasts for 3 turns, and the percentage on the DoT is 72% of Kafka's attack. So this is really good. And of course, the DoT damage right now, the problem with it is it's slow, right? It's very slow. So if you have a member of the team that can just constantly proc the DoT damage, this is going to be a great addition. So this is her skill. Now, her skill deals a single target damage of 91% of Kafka's attack, and also additional damage to the adjacent members. So that's why it looks like it's AoE, but you have a single target targeting aim priority, and then the adjacent units to that target will take 32% of the Kafka's attack. Now, if the enemy that you're targeting is under any DoT damage, then you immediately apply a 107% damage detonation, basically. So again, more detonation for dots, and this is essentially how her kit revolves around applying dots, detonating the dots, and making the DoT team alive. This is the technique that you use out of combat. Now, the technique is an attack technique, so you can't switch after you use this, but it essentially applies 50% of Kafka's damage to a random unit and deals lightning damage, and 100% base damage to apply the lightning DoT on all enemies lasting 3 turns. And if the enemy is under the lightning dot, then every single turn, the multiplier for the dot is 50% of Kafka's attack. Okay, so you can see this is going to open up, start the fight with dots, which is fantastic, which is really, really. Now let's take a look at the traces that we can use to upgrade. So the first one is when you use your basic attack, if the enemy is under the lightning dot status, then you explode and detonate the damage for 40% of the lightning dot. So as we've talked about, it's all about the dot damage. There are 2 other traces that unfortunately was not shown here. I'll try to do some digging, and if you know, we can put it in the comments. Otherwise, I'll try to find it and put it in the pinned comments. But it's going to be relevant, I think, to the break effect and how it's dot related again. Okay, it's dot related again is what I've seen and remember from CBT2. Now let's take a look at the eidolons. Let's take a look at that. The first eidolon is after you get attacked, if the enemy is not under the lightning dot, then you have a 100% chance to apply the lightning dot on the enemy that is equal to the effect of the ultimate, which is a much higher percentage based on Kafka's attack percent. So that is quite good. Now this second eidolon, the talent can trigger it twice, allowing you to apply essentially more follow attacks every turn. Instead of 1, it's 2 follow attacks. And 3 is the same with every unit. 4 is game changing. All right. Now this one changes before for your ultimate. When you apply, okay, the detonation effect, it only works on the lightning dot damage, if you remember. Now eidolon 4 makes it so that when you detonate, you can detonate all sorts of dots. You can detonate the sample dot, you can detonate the burns from Himeko, you can detonate any dot that you get from breaking the shield or the weakness break. All of the dot will be detonatable, not just the lightning from the ultimate, which is absolutely fantastic. Now this, remember, it's CBT, closed beta data. Okay, this can change. Just like how Seele, the eidolons got swapped around, I'm gonna expect eidolons to be swapped for the full release as well. Okay, but this is definitely core to the detonation mechanic. And her last detonation, eidolon, is every single time you trigger the talent, okay, the damage increases by 120%. So every single battle you trigger a talent the first time, which is the follow-up attack when the enemy is under the lightning dot, damage increased by 120%, and you immediately detonate the lightning dot for 100% of the dot damage. So Eidolon 6 doesn't look that great. Okay, Eidolon 6 at the current moment does not look that great on paper. I'm going to assume they're going to change that. And this is the cone for CBT, which is if the enemy is under dot, then damage dealt to the enemy increases by 16% from the user of this light cone. And every time the user attacks, speed increases by 4%. And this stacks up to 5%. 5 times. So this is a 20% speed boost at base level. Okay, and when Kafka, when the enemy receives an attack, the enemy's dot damage received is increased by 20%. So more damage increase for dot. So overall, the kit so far from first glance is all right. It's not game breaking, but like I've said, closed beta, things will change. I've already heard some crazy things. about Kafka and the new, how she is going to be, you know, changing the meta in the story in terms of her power level. So we will have to see what it looks like for the full release. Overall, like I said, I'm a huge simp for Kafka. We'll max her for sure. She's going to be a dot focused unit. From her kit alone in CBT, I don't think she's that crazy in terms of how strong she is. But you know what? Minor changes will be able to push her up and hopefully push her up to tier 0, because I know a lot of people are excited to pull for her, and myself included. So hopefully we see a much stronger version, much stronger version of her in the full release. Let me know your thoughts on this, and it's TimaeuSS here, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye now.